later on tonight. She's going to take a test tonight. So, hey guys, we are back in our game, and we've got one member of the game who will not be here because they are sick. Another person who is unfortunately, I think, working today, so we're not going to see the person either. So, that being the case. When we last left our intrepid band, you guys were on the forest roads, just outside of, just north of the roads of the Tybor Trail, on the area north of Phandalin. You had decided to go and try and find the Ragnok, one of the henges that was dedicated to the half-orc god. And considered sacred territory. You've been given rough directions on how to be able to find it, following essentially a particular set of stars, which you tried to penetrate into the forest, kind of knowing roughly where you needed to be heading in from. Whether or not you guys will actually be able to find it through the cover of the forest itself is a completely different issue, but we will find out, won't we? Hopefully it all goes well for you guys, because it can be very dangerous in the forest, as your party has learned on multiple occasions, having ventured into the depths of the forest there, only to find out that there's some pretty unsavory characters that have decided to make it their home, where you are no longer at the top of the food chain. So just bear that in mind. So you guys are had been not very far out of Phandalin. In fact, you had just kind of got to the foothills when you had picked up that you were being tracked by a group of the hybrids, and various elements that make up those kinds of parties were in there, and for reasons unknown, they had a pretty tight read on where you guys were, and that could be considered good news or bad news, depends upon your perspective, that you guys were able to pretty quickly dispatch them in their attempts to try and waylay you guys on the forest road. It didn't go well for the group that tried to take you guys on. You were quite what's the word I'm looking for? Efficient. Even though the battle did take a very long time, you guys were very successful in being able to put down the group that was chasing you, which outnumbered you significantly. Sorry, and you had done a pretty good job about cleaning them all up, but one of them did get away and managed to beat feet back through the forest and find cover in the surrounding scrub brush, and vanished off the radar, as it were, and left you guys unable to determine exactly where they had gone. So that is where we left off, and unless anybody has any questions, I'm going to bring you guys back to where we left off on the forest road, unless you have any questions, comments, or concerns before we start.
No, I don't think so.
All right.
No.
Alrighty, that being the case, if anybody, by the way, has a chance to pop and listen to the stream, let me know if you're hearing me, let me know if you're hearing the music, let me know if you're hearing yourselves coming through on the Discord channel. I'm trying to get it to all come through. According to what I'm seeing here in the audio mixer, you should be coming through. Hopefully, at the very least, you're in the recording, and we can bring you guys in here, hopefully, without too much trouble. So if one of you guys happens to listen to it, let me know. If there are no other questions, then we will go ahead and bring you guys into the forest floor where we had left off. There you go. And I will now unpause the game. Go over and kind of lower the audio here ever so slightly. Don't know about you guys, but I like the music, but sometimes it can be just a tad bit distracting with respect to the volume level that we sometimes get. All right. Awesome. So this is where we left off, guys. You had a bunch of very dead creatures lying on the ground around you. And where would you guys like to pick up?
I guess we should search them for valuables.
Excellent. I'm going to remove the conditions that many of you guys have. Many of you guys are showing that you still have half cover. That is no longer really relevant, seeing as how you guys are actually no longer in combat itself. So I'm going to be removing some of those conditions. So if you see those dropping off in the background, that's why you're seeing it. As your party starts to go through the folks that you had waylaid, in typical fashion, they're not carrying much in the way of gear. However, you do find that the smaller creatures, the orc bolts, seem to be carrying some fairly decent arrows. So you all take the opportunity to fill your inventory, or as Makiko would say, which was going to be a gag for her, but she's not here today. We're
Fill
going to
our bow supply.
fill your bow supply to the rim. Absolutely, just fill it all the way
It's
up.
saying that I don't have a character with vision in this scene, which I can see that is clearly false, but...
Yeah, you are there. You definitely have a character. So, and
My
I actually,
computer's screaming again, so I'm gonna move.
all right. I do see you in there, Eva.
I'll
Yeah,
refresh.
I see we have cursors, but I don't see any characters either. Our little emblems.
Okay, could you give me an F5, quickly refresh your browsers and see if you see it? I did try to preload the scene.
Also, it sounds like we're coming through all right on the stream.
Oh, perfect. Thanks. That's great to hear because, boy, I'll tell you, if you try testing it, you'd never know. Very frustrating. So thanks for letting me know. Let me know if you guys can't see it at all. If worst comes to worst, we will revert to Theater of the Mind, or you guys can, if you drop your audio, you can watch on the Twitch stream because you'll be able to see what's coming across on the Twitch stream.
Yeah, I can see the background.
You can see the background, but do you not see yourselves? You should be over here.
Just
Maybe
our cursor.
I could see that we were there on the Twitch stream. It just said to be, you do not have any characters with vision in this scene, and then it was just kind of grayed out.
All right. Well, let me check that and make sure that everyone does in fact have vision. You should. Vision. You do have vision, or else you would be blind. Yeah, all of you guys have vision, so I don't know why it's
There we
saying
go.
that.
I refreshed and it's good.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
this is
sometimes
mine.
that should be it if you ever run into that. So let's go ahead and you guys drag the bodies out into the open where it's a little easier for you guys to kind of keep an eye on the creatures and get a read on what, if anything, they may in the way of gear or goods for you to go and grab. Let's see. I know that we've got Druger and Ruger in here somewhere. There's Ruger. Let me get rid of your half cover there, sir. You don't need that anymore. And your branding smite is no longer running because the thing that you smacked with it is no longer alive, so it's kind of irrelevant. So let's see, Damien, Ruger, Cauldron, Elrin, Ravina. We have all of the characters accounted for here now. Wait, where's Ruger? I know he's around here. There he is. Knew that we had the dwarf here somewhere. So, Ruger, your owl continues to fly high air cover over this sort of open area that you guys are in, right up against the sides of the trees, kind of keeping an eye out for you. You've got pretty decent visibility in certain directions, but the tree cover, because you were just penetrating the edges of the forest itself, as you can see, is getting a little bit thicker. So being able to see at distance is becoming more and more of a challenge, but keeping your owl above you, you're fairly certain you've got decent visibility, in a few different directions. However, it is entirely possible that if something breaks through the heavier areas of cover, that you won't see it coming just because there's too much foliage, and it's a little impractical for your owl to try and fly through all of those branches because even a real owl would have difficulty doing that. So that's kind of where you stand with respect to that at the moment. As you go through their gear, like I said, you found that there was the arrows. You did find a small cache of silver coins, about 25 of them. So I'm going to go ahead and add those to your inventory, Ruger. But there was an interesting thing as you take a look at them. you notice that these silver coins um, look remarkably new, like freshly minted. No tarnish, no chips, no stains, nothing.
Hmm.
These are brand spanking new, fresh off the press type of coins, which is not unheard of, but a whole bag is kind of unusual, especially in the possession of, reprobates like these. Not the kind of persons you would normally expect to be walking around with freshly minted coins.
These are coins of the realm, or they look like special, like they've got some
Roll an
markings
investigation.
from the.
Roll an investigation roll for me, please. I was hoping you would ask. Now, this is a relatively. You want to roll above an 18. So roll and what you get.
Somebody help him.
Yes, you can. If you want to give him assistance, he can roll with advantage.
I'd like to do that then.
Please do so. Someone's been playing this week and has gotten used to doing these things. All right, so he rolled.
The
Two
same
sevens?
number twice?
Yeah, the same number twice. My goodness. So what did that come out to with your bonus?
Oh, I didn't even look. I assumed it was below the.
Yeah, I am pretty sure unless you
18.
have an
I
11
can't see
on.
his rolls.
Interesting. I noticed that. Can you try that again?
I
Is
can't
that
actually
just two
see the
d20
rolls.
or is that investigation?
Yeah,
That would-
investigation. You should have rolled investigation, not just 2d20. I mean, 2d20s, then we could have added. We could have done it manually, but I thought he was rolling off of his character sheet.
I don't know what he was doing. That's what I was asking.
I don't know either. I can't see him. But we tried to.
I rolled off of the character sheet for investigation,
Okay.
and then I pressed advantage, but I can't actually see the rolls for some reason
Could you try it again?
on the main screen.
Interestingly
I
enough,
know
I didn't see them
it's
either.
loading slow here, so.
Here's the crazy thing. This is the new version, which actually loads a lot more efficiently. So I'm very disconcerted that you're having this problem. There we go. I see it this
Oh,
time.
there we go.
That was very strange. Sadly, unfortunately, your prior rolls not quite as good. However, one of the things that you do notice as you're looking at it is you can't really tell if they're forged or anything along those lines. But as you're looking at them, you do notice that on the one side it's got the emblem of Faerun, which is quite normal, and on the back, where you would normally see the stamp of the city where it was minted, the city looks like it should be Neverwinter, but the image looks slightly different from what you recall. It includes some of the newer elements in the port, which weren't there the last time you saw mints of that coin.
Hmm.
Interesting.
Cauldron, give me a perception
Mhm.
check, please. And I'm not going to tell you what it is, but please roll high.
I mean, that's always applied, really.
Yeah, well, it always is, right? 14. There's something itching at the back of your mind. The coins themselves look weird, and you do agree with Ruger. It's like, clearly these are new. Clearly this, and you're very familiar with Neverwinter. And you, to the best of your knowledge, you don't recall there ever being any coins minted that included the new areas of the port. It hasn't been there for very long. It's only been there for about a year, and not really in time for there to have been any type of work done, to the best of your knowledge, to include that in any of the die castings that are used for the coins. Now, this is not like some special ability that you have. It's just that, being somebody who didn't just fall off the turnip truck, all of you guys are used to kind of keeping an eye on coins to make sure you're not getting handed, crap and counterfeit coins. Now, you can't tell whether these are counterfeit or just very, very new, but you can detect that there's these differences. But Cauldron, as you're looking at the bag itself, you notice that the embroidery on the bottom of the bag looks vaguely familiar. And the heraldry looks similar to something that you know you've seen. It's not an exact match. You know you've seen something like this, but you can't quite place exactly where you've seen it before. But you know you've seen something like it, and it's really bugging you.
What about it is familiar?
Well, as Cauldron is looking at it, Cauldron, you're fairly certain that you've seen something similar to this in either one of the trade guilds that you had dealings with while you were still an active member of the Thieves Guild in Neverwinter. But it doesn't exactly match anything that you've seen before. But as you look at it a little bit further, it could be something coming from the Wizards Guild, but it may also be related to essentially what would be the official heraldry of the group. I just drew a blank on the name. The group that keeps track of land grants out of Neverwinter. Deeds, titles, and land grants. They're very similar. What it looks like is like golden oaken leaves with small stars around it.
Okay.
But even so, the number of stars isn't quite right. And that's kind of what's throwing you. Because if it was the Wizards Guilds, it would be 5 stars. And if it was,
I wonder if it's like a mutiny group or something like that. I don't know.
Well, she does recall from her childhood, because you would see these signs all over the place, and being someone who grew up in the streets of Neverwinter, you've seen the signs, all in the various parts of Neverwinter for the different bureaus of both the Wizards Guild and also the land offices. But the land offices, on top of having stars, would have the crown. And this does not have the crown. So it doesn't have the right number of stars to be the Wizards Guild. It's lacking the crown to be the land office. But it's clearly heraldry of that level of importance. If it's in fact real. And that's the other thing, you can't tell, because you're sitting there going, but the coins, are the coins real? You're really struggling with how to put this all together in your head, but something about this is vaguely familiar and disturbingly not.
Well, I mean, we might as well just pocket it, and maybe we're looking for wizards right now anyways. We might as well we'll just cross that bridge when we get there, until somebody in our party can figure it out. Unless there is somebody right now that we can give it to other than Cauldron who could, figure something out.
Well, we might want to keep those coins separate from the rest, so we don't get in trouble or anything for passing coals around.
That's true.
Well, they do come in their own little handy pouch, nice burgundy pouch, not leather, but a nice plush velour. Very nice. I mean, you know quality when you've seen it, and it looks very out of place with these guys. You guys have whacked a lot of these characters before. This is the first time you've ever seen something like this in their possession. This is it's not satin, it's not silk, but it's a crushed velour type of material, and it's clearly refined. Maybe not lush, but it's definitely something you would normally see with this bunch of goons.
So someone of a higher position
all
is
right.
paying these guys in some way,
Maybe
shape, or form. Somebody
they.
before.
Can you repeat that?
Sorry, my Wi-Fi's a little shitty, so crappy. What I'm saying is that like clearly there's like probably like some sort of higher, wealthier, almost like aristocratic group that is paying these guys off, and now there's like another group of people that we have to take into
Maybe,
account
or
in this whole.
that's a possibility, but also they might have attacked somebody before us who had that on their person.
That's true. But yeah, I think as of now, I don't think we have enough information to do anything about it, so we might as well just hang on to it and keep moving.
And restock on bows. I mean, arrows.
Yes. So go into your inventory. I so wish she was here. We were all prepared to give her nothing but crap about that today, and I do feel bad that she's feeling bad, and hopefully when she comes in and listens to the recording, she'll get a chuckle out of that, but we love you, dear. But yes, you go and refill your bows. But if all of you go into your inventory, and if you have... now I'm doing it. If you do have arrows in your inventory, go and fill yourself up to the max. So for each one of your quivers, make sure that you go up to a full score, which is 20. And interesting.
I'm assuming none of them fight with crossbows.
No, they don't. These guys did not have crossbows. What these guys had was, oh, actually, yes. The kind of smaller ones that they're far more lizard-like, more crocodilian. The ones that were carrying the daggers and the great axes, they do carry light crossbows.
Oh, okay.
They're not the best
So
they're not the best in the world, but they do have them.
So I can load up on some bolts?
Yes, you can. Between the two of them, they have 6 crossbow bolts left each, in a bandolier style across their chest. Pretty easy for easy access. So between the two of them, you have 12 that you can add. Which, if you've got a quiver, if you've got a quarrel, that should give you pretty close to a score.
Okay.
If you want to throw the extra ones that are left over, you want to toss those into your backpack, because crossbow bolts are a little easier to pack up and throw into a backpack than arrows. Arrows don't do well. Crossbow bolts are much hardier and thicker, and the fletchings aren't quite as what's the word I'm looking for? Fragile. So if you wanted to go ahead and do that, by all means, toss a couple of extra ones into your backpack. The great axes that they have left, between the battle that you guys were in, they've been chipped and damaged pretty severely. If you wanted, you could try carrying them, but they're, first of all, none of the weapons that they have, both the crossbows themselves, the javelins, the great axes that these things were carrying, really appear to be of high quality. They're functional. It's like the juice may not be worth the squeeze if you wanted to go and carry these all the way back to a city, but it's completely up to you guys.
What do we think?
I'm sorry, what are these?
Great axes. There's a couple of great axes. They're kind of split, knocked pretty badly. The handles are fairly rough hewn. A couple of daggers.
Yeah.
Again, they're just basically crap steel.
Right.
There's a couple of light crossbows, but they're in not very good shape.
I would say forget everything except the great axes. We could bring them to Ragnok, where we're
Like a
headed,
smith or something.
and see if
that's
they
what I
need
thought
extra
too.
weapons.
But as you're looking, you do
Yeah,
find that
and
one of them is carrying a decent chainmail. The one character that you were having a hell of a time
yeah.
getting a target on was carrying chainmail. I just double checked his inventory. Yeah, it's serviceable. It's not stellar, but this is one of the cultists. So
Yeah.
they've spent a little bit.
Yeah,
They've
we might as
upgraded
well.
him a little bit.
Is there anyone in our party that can handle the weight of chainmail that isn't already wearing heavy armor?
Well, the bigger question is there anybody wants to take the stealth penalty? Because I think most of you guys are carrying armor that's better, but if you wanted to carry it back to town and then sell it, you know, it's there might be some decent coin there for you guys to carry it, because that one, the weight to benefit ratio might be a little bit more appealing to you.
Should we give maybe either Druger or the Paladin some stealth, because they tend to be some heftier
Well,
boys?
the challenge is that if you're going to do that, you'd have to put them into slightly less robust armor, because they're in plate mail, and their plate.
How about Ravina?
Ravina is actually in, if I'm not mistaken, in her current form. She is in chainmail already. When she is in her other form, she is carrying half plate, but in her current form, she's carrying chainmail, a chain shirt. Actually, not full chain, a chain shirt.
Well, then, I mean, we could just take it with us to sell, and then.
All right.
And then the axe maybe even to sell, or if we pick up somebody else in our party somehow, you know, we have something that can get thrown on, since we seem to pick up a lot of scragglers.
Yes, you guys are getting a little full on capacity, so I would recommend Druger offers to carry it. He's got a 600 pound carrying capacity, and right now he's only carrying about 180.
Oh yeah, let's give it to him.
Yeah,
both of them.
Ruger, do want to warn you, you are getting very close to being encumbered with your weight allowance right now. Both, so between Damien and Druger, you might want to consider in the future offloading a little bit more of your gear, because you're getting a little close to capacity.
Okay, I can get rid of the light crossbow right now.
Okay.
I just never find myself using it.
All right. I will ditch the light crossbow for you. So you toss that down into the. Oh, you did. Very good. You go and toss that down into the pile with everything else, and you're good to go. By the way, Ruger, you are already carrying chainmail extra. So the next time you guys are at an armory, you might want to consider dumping it.
Why do I have extra chainmail?
What I think it was is that when you guys swapped out, I don't think you sold all of the armor you had during one of the exchanges. Either that or we made a mistake, but either way, if we made a mistake, hey, it's a windfall. Go ahead and take the freebie, and have it available to you to sell.
All right.
Okay. So, guys, it's gotten very late in the afternoon, and the battle has taken you to probably the edges of safety with respect to being able to kind of move further northward. You might want to start thinking about making camp at some point fairly soon, unless you want to press on through the night into the forest. And just even suggesting that, you see Druger starting to break out in a cold sweat. As you see him like thumbing Hugh on his back, going, I don't think that's something I'd like to do. But you guys could always try and convince him. I'm sure if you put enough food in front of him, you could drag Druger anywhere.
No, I think we should probably make camp.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Because Lord knows. Nope, I was about to agree with you.
All right, so
sounds good.
Yeah.
If you guys decide to make up camp here, so I'll go ahead and take you guys over here and move you over to a reasonably decent camping spot. And kind of a little circle of you guys. All right, there we go.
Somewhere with some cover, but not in the thick of everything. Yeah, this. Wait, this little area by the rock, perhaps.
Okay, I can move you guys over there. Okay, yeah, that's great. I'll go and give you guys that. 1 second here. Put you there. And give you, there's your light animation. Let's give this torch. There we go. I'll move you guys over there. Right there. And let me grab that fire and put it right there next to you guys. Oops. Don't mean to set the forest on fire. There we go. All right. And it starts
no,
getting...
at the rate we get attacked, maybe we should light the forest on fire. I mean, just
You
saying.
know, the argument could be made. It would save you time. So I'm assuming your owl's going to take a high level perch for you to try and keep an eye on things until it's time for you to go and conk out.
Yeah.
You guys go and stash the bodies of these other creatures far off into the bushes so that they won't attract any other predators over the course of the evening. So what is the order in which you guys are going to be setting up your watch for the night?
So do
I
the
think
same
as
order?
usual we have like a big guy and a little guy together.
Yeah.
One
Hey.
perceptive, one
Oh.
less perceptive.
Oh, I think we just got Damien back.
Yay.
Hey, Damien. Good to see you, sir.
Excellent.
How are you? Hold on, let me come online. So I am remote right now, so I won't have full access or full control, so I might have to ask you guys to do that for me.
That's fine.
That's cool.
Appreciate you participating.
I'm thinking, like, I think what we normally do is like Ruger with Cauldron, Druger with Ravina, and then Damien with Elrond or something along those lines. I can write it down though.
Yeah, if you could just write it in the chat, that would be that would be a lot easier for me. And seeing as how everybody is here, I hate to say this, but could we just take a 2-minute bio break, please? I will be right back. I need to just take 2 minutes. The DM needs to take 2 minutes. So, Damien, use this opportunity to get caught up. I'm going to take the stream and put us into we'll be right back, and then I'll see you guys all back here in just a second. My apologies, but do need to take a quick break.
All right. What's happening?
Were you here last week?
Yeah, I was here last
Yes.
time. Oh, is it just a continuation of that battle that we had?
We're done with that battle.
No, we're done.
Oh, we're done with that battle. Okay, got it.
All right.
I think you sound fine.
All right, let me get back to gameplay then. Alrighty, sorry for the little interruption there, folks, but nature calls. All right. So you gave me the order. We've got Ruger and Cauldron, Druger and Ravina, Damien and Elrin. So, as the first group goes on to watch, let me kind of set the mood here by setting us into the proper time of day. We need to transition to darkness here. As the sun starts to set behind the trees in the forest, you start hearing the active noises of the predatory animals that are frequently out and about in the evening time in the forest. You hear the sounds of the birds starting to quiet down. Far off in the distance, up in the direction of the mountains, you can hear the crowd that's the two that are on patrol can hear the sounds of a dragon roar high up in the mountaintops. And as it starts to echo through the valley and down the hills and over towards the forest, you hear a couple of other roars picking it up, as if they're talking to one another and coordinating. But over the course of your part of the watch, nothing happens, and you're able to go to sleep. Druger and Ravina take the middle watch. They're woken up now. We're very deep in the evening. It's quite silent. You can hear the wind whistling through the trees. And the animals that are hunting, you occasionally see green, yellow, red eyes looking at you, reflecting the faint firelight. But they keep their distance, not wanting to get too close to you or too close to the campfire. But around the middle time of your watch, you hear another dragon roar. This one sounds slightly different tone to it, but it's coming from much closer. It seems to be coming in the direction of Connieberry, the ruined city just off of Tybor, the Tybor Trail that leads up into the mountains up towards the old Owl Temple. But that over the course of the evening, nothing goes on any further from there. And you're left unaccosted. The last group, Damien and Elrin, you're woken up from your beds as Druger and Ravina go down for the night. They tell you about what Ruger and Cauldron's heard, and they tell you that they had seen, probably not seen, but had heard coming from Connieberry. They had heard dragon sounds coming closer and echoes from the other dragons, once again seeming to be closer than they were in the past. Over the course of the evening, you start seeing more and more of the nocturnal animals becoming fewer and fewer. You can start hearing some of the squirrels that are taking an extra risk coming out, running through the branches and the trees over your head as it starts getting closer to daylight. You can see the purple aura of the sun on the horizon, just indicating that you're still an hour or two away from sunrise, but indicating that you've made it through the evening without having to deal with a major incursion or a battle. But just as you are starting to feel relaxed that you've made it to another day of sunlight, You hear a dragon roar coming from the Tybor Trail, very close to where you were. In fact, within less than 100 yards of where you are, you quickly douse the campfire and cover it up with one of your robes to keep the smoke from rising. And as you do so, you see the silvery wings of a large flying reptilian creature pass over the treetops less than 100 yards from where you are, circling, sniffing the air, searching the ground, and it begins to howl and roar. And as it does, it wakes up the rest of the party. You quickly hush everybody and tell them you haven't been spotted in your little alcove there in the trees. And after a few moments of circling over where the battle was, and over where the bodies still remain, where you'd buried them away from you to keep the predators from finding you over the course of the night, after flying over there for a while, it flies off back up towards the mountains. But you hear other echoing roars coming from various locations. To the north of you, in the direction of the forest. To the south of you, in the direction of Phandalin. To the west, in the direction of the King's Highway and the main road leading up to Neverwinter and the coastal regions beyond. And to the east, where Connieberry and the bridge roads up to the Old Owl Temple exist. They don't appear to be coming any closer. So ladies and gentlemen, you managed to make it through the night, so everyone please, you were unaccosted significantly enough that you can all take a long rest. So please, if you haven't already, please open up your characters and take a long rest. I will do so to our good buddy Druger here. It is in fact a new day. You have successfully...
Don't forget about Damien. I can't control myself.
We've known that for years.
Where's Ravina on the map? I cannot find her.
There she is. She was right next to you. And
Huh,
because
I
it
think
is
I
a new
just need to
day,
F5 this.
because it is a new day, Ravina needs to roll percentile dice. D100, the 2 dice at the very end. And by the way, yes, everyone must consume rations, so please consume your rations.
I just refreshed my page, so if you could roll for Ravina and make those changes to her, that'd be great, just until my page loads.
I will do so right now. Yeah, it's funny, I tried to use her rations and it says you must select a target. I'm like, what are you talking about? So, yes, we've corrected her rations.
Food fight! Food fight!
Exactly. So Ravina has now taken a long rest, and because it is a long rest, she now must roll D100 to see what happens. Elrin, do you want to do...
Oh, wait, I can do it now. I can do it
Okay.
now.
All right, go ahead and roll the D100 for me. And she remains Ravina. You notice something peculiar. It used to be that she would change back to Angelina very easily. But you notice that not only does your fellow sister and follower of Talos not change back into her cleric form, you notice that her personality is changing slightly. She's becoming slightly darker than usual, and she was pretty dark.
I was gonna say, that's just high school, man.
Yeah. But you start noticing a slight change in her personality. All right. Has everybody eaten their rations and taken their sleep?
Yee.
All
Take
right.
that as a yes.
Yep.
It is now morning. Where would the party like to go?
Continue on to the place,
Yep.
Rag-
the henge that we were
Ragnok.
going to.
All right.
Ragnok.
Ruger, when
Yes.
you went to sleep, your owl disappeared into the pocket dimension. Are you recalling him in the morning, or are you just going to leave him down for now?
No, I'll have him fly up above and up ahead.
All right. See if I can find him. There he is. Oops, sorry. I'm using the light control. That's not going to work. All right. So he flies up ahead of you and starts looking to identify better where the path through the trees might be. As he's flying ahead of you, you know that he's generally following the direction you guys had lined up last night as the sun had set, to make sure that some of the general geographical reference points to help make sure you're continuing north as you get into the canopy are there. And it's helpful because, once again, now that you guys are under the canopy, it's like being just the way that the lighting that you would see just as the sun is coming up in the morning, or as the sun has just gone down over the horizon. It's darkish. There's clearly like no major shadows that you guys are casting. You're in a permanent shadow from the canopy above you, and there is some light piercing through, but there's not a ton. After the first hour of you sauntering north into the forest itself, it gets darker and darker until Ruger, your friend the owl, is having to fly just at the edge of your ability to maintain contact with him and still see what's going on, in order to help guide you through where you're heading. But he does manage to keep you linked in that way, but there's times where it's really tricky and you're just kind of pushing the outside envelope. By the time you guys get to lunch, you're 3 hours into the forest. The brambles and the tree trunks are becoming more twisted, more corrupt looking, more thorny. There's a dank smell of decay as you start finding yourself deeper and deeper in almost like a swampish rainforest. By the time evening rolls around, a couple of times the owl spots potential threats. Layers of predatory creatures that lie in wait, that are opportunistic hunters. You spot the telltale signs of a few of their traps that are set up to capture unwary adventurers, and you manage to avoid those. You get all the way through to sunset, and deep inside the forest, it might as well be, at this point, you can't really tell the difference between daylight and evening. It's just as dark during the time when the sun was up as it was when the sun was down. You set up your camp for the night, and as you do, you notice there is a much stronger, ominous presence of creatures around you. It's very difficult to get a fire lit, but you manage to do so on the mossy ground. But the air is so oppressive, it feels as if the smoke can't even rise to get away from you, and it sort of fills the camp area and continues to choke you guys while you're sleeping. You find yourself coughing on the air as the smoke from the campfire filters into you guys quite a bit. During the second watch, when Druger and Ravina are on watch, they think they hear something off to the north. Ravina, even with her exceptional night sight being part demon, and Druger being one of the children of the world, a dwarf, they can't see well enough through all of the trees to see what it is, but they can pick up the distinct feeling that they are being watched by something to the north. Damien and Elrin, they tell you about this, and then they hand you the third watch. Damien and Elrin, both of you please give me perception rolls. Damien, I'll roll yours for you. Wow. Damien hasn't got a clue.
So I'm pulling the weight.
And Elrin pulls in a clutch 24. Elrin, you hear something rather large north of you.
How far north?
About 80 feet. Just outside of your eyesight. But as you start to move forward, you kind of try to move a little bit away from the campfire to try and get a view of it. You can see something large and hairy about 60, 80 feet in front of you. But between the
Sure,
brambles...
it's not just Druger.
No. He is lying down. He's snoring.
Okay.
But it is worth noting that it could have been him. Understood. It is kind of like... It's funny you would mention it. She's seen him without his shirt on. The back looks familiar. At the edge, you can see something on the edge. It seems to be kind of avoiding getting too close. Almost as if it can sense that if it were to come too much more further forward, it might be detected by the firelight. What you can make out is like a dark auburn fur. It's quite short. You make out two sets of white tusks that you think you see, and a ridge of dark black hair running from the forehead down across a high arched back. And you're not sure, but you're pretty sure it's a giant boar. A giant wild boar.
Is this like the same boars that we saw on the shore at one time?
They look remarkably similar.
Ah. I'll call out to it. I'll say, hey. Who goes there? And then I will probably learn pretty quickly whether it's a person or not.
What language do you say it in?
Are they orcs? I can't remember what they were. What were they again? What race were they?
They were half-orcs, but they were speaking Orcish with you, a weird dialect of Orc.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna call out an orc.
Roll a persuasion check for me, please.
Oh.
As you call out to it, the tone of your voice startles it. It turns and breaks back away off into the brush and disappears.
Can I do a command? Okay. It's too quick to do a command spell on it.
You can try if you'd like.
Okay, I'm gonna try to
Did
do
we just
a...
lose somebody and have them come back, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I'm gonna try to do command.
All right.
And I'm gonna do halt. Oh,
All right.
I need to target something in order to do that.
Okay, just give me a d20, and I'll tell you, because you
Okay.
can't really see it. You've got very poor view on it. That was a
Oh,
D12.
that was a D12. That was a D12. Sorry. Click the wrong one. Are you kidding me?
You're not successful. You issue
Ugh.
the command, and it kind of goes off, and you hear as you pull up the energy of Talos coming up through the ground, as your voice changes and modulates, almost like you can see heat waves coming away from your voice as you go and say stop out into the forest. But it just echoes out and disappears in front of you and doesn't appear to take or to strike against anything.
Useless.
Damien, are you going to do anything as a result? You can't see it, by the way. It's already gone. It's already taken off. But you saw what your cleric just tried. Damien? Okay, I think we may have lost Damien, unfortunately. So.
Sorry, what am I being asked? I'm sorry.
It's fine. David's not doing anything. I don't think he can because it's already left.
It's,
so let's move
it's
on.
already gotten away, so it's run off into the bushes. So you guys continue to stand watch for the rest of the night, and nothing happens. No additional creatures of that type come near you, but boy, you can hear a lot of other things munching and crunching and walking and slithering and sliding through the various areas of the forest around you. And just before you determine your time for your watch should have ended, you hear dragon roars. Back in the direction you came, coming up from the Tybor Trail, coming from the east and the west of you, and to the north. You hear several of them moving around as if they're searching for something before they start to
Okay,
disappear
we're gonna
off
wait.
into the distance.
It doesn't appear like it's coming towards us. Okay. I'm just gonna wait till morning, and then that's when I'll let everybody know what happened, because I don't think it sounds like it's malicious in it. Well, can Damien and I follow the noise? At least to, like, try to see what's happening? What that group is?
The dragons? The dragons sound like they're quite a ways off in the distance.
Got it. Great. Okay. Then we'll just lay low.
All right. It's the new morning, a new day. Please roll percentile dice for Ravina.
Great. 1 second.
And she remains Ravina.
Dang, girl.
As you guys get up and have your breakfast, pack up, put out what meager fire you were able to get started the night before, Ruger, you summon your owl, and the problem you have now is that the owl can't get far enough up above the trees for you to be able to maintain contact with him. So by the time he can get high enough in the air to see what's going on, did I lose people?
No, you
No,
lost me for a second, but I'm back.
Okay. As he gets to the top of the trees, where he can actually start to see things, unfortunately, you lose communication with him. He's just too far away. The trees are too tall at this point. So you start flying him ahead of you through the trees, hoping that you can try and maintain your direction as you're going forward. And as you do start noticing that the trees start getting a little thinner, and he can now stay above the trees again and maintain contact with you, and you can still see what's going on. It's starting to become more like a twilight and a little less of a pitch black as you're making your way through the trees. It's still pretty foul smelling. There's still clearly lots of critters and creatures that are just outside of your vision that are staying away from you as much as they are considering getting towards you. As you continue along, you eventually find yourself in a situation where you can actually start seeing a little bit ahead of you. Instead of being only 20, 30, 40 feet ahead of you inside of the trees, you can now see further along, and you can actually see patches of sunlight poking their heads through certain areas. Until eventually, you find yourselves coming out to a clearing. And this is where you find yourself.
I am still loading. Ooh, yay, beautiful.
Alright, and I love it when it goes and drops people on multiple spots of the map at the same time. That's always fun. What you start seeing in front of you as the trees start to fall away, you see a hill starting to rise up out of the middle of the forest, out of this clearing area, forming a small beehive-shaped hilltop. As the trees get more and more sparse at the top, you notice, as you start to walk closer towards it, you can see the tops, the very edges of large stone granite structures at the top. And judging from your familiarity and the descriptions you've heard of in the past, you do believe what you are run up against. You do believe what you're seeing is, and I have to do this to you guys, I apologize, is you do believe you're seeing what might be a henge in front of you.
But no one knows what the heck a henge is!
I was going to ask what a henge is.
A henge is a circle of stones arranged in a pillar-like fashion, as in stone henge.
But before that, there was straw henge and straw hedge and wood hedge. But a big bad wolf came down, knocked them down, and.
Great.
Thank you, Miss Izzard. Thank you.
Well, can we go up, see if there's any inscriptions on it?
Sure thing. As you guys start to walk up the hill, Elrin, I need you to make a perception roll for me, please.
You got it. Also, apologies if my computer is screaming.
Okay. 17.
Heyo.
As you start approaching, you can feel the spiritual energy that empowers your storm magic. You look at your fingertips and you see what looks like static electricity at one moment between your fingers as you start to touch your fingers and thumbs together. And you quickly realize that you are getting close to a primordial source of Talos's power as you start to head towards this hilltop.
Nice. Is there anything I can do with that?
As you guys approach and you get to the top of the hill, you see a creature suddenly appear underneath one of the rocks. At first, it's a large boar. And as it starts to walk towards you, it changes instead into a humanoid creature. And it walks towards the edge of the henge, holding its spear in one hand and looking down at all of you. It's still about 10 more feet up the hill from where you are, standing between a gap in the two henge stones there. And as it looks at you, it points to you and it gestures for you to come forward. It points to the others and it lowers its spear tip down.
You who?
The rest of the party.
No, who did it point to?
Elrin.
Okay.
And it
I see.
gestured
Okay,
to her
well.
to come forward.
Okay, I go forward.
All right. So as you get about to where it is, it bows towards you, and it begins to speak to you in Orc. Welcome, sister. I see that you are a follower of the God of Storms as well, the great Talos, who empowers both of our tribes. Do you come to pay homage to his mightiness? Or do you come with these interlopers to desecrate this land, like the many that have come before you?
I'm here with my traveling party. We're called the Gatewalkers, and we're here to bring peace to the desecration that has occurred. I don't necessarily come to pay homage, but I can if it's necessary. We were traveling through the forest and we came to this clearing. We have no idea where we are. Wait, hold on, guys. Not that we don't have any idea where we are. Nina Donville doesn't have any idea where she is, but I'm gonna say that yes, we've come to bring peace to the lands, and we mean no harm. And I am with you.
You see the first of all, make a persuasion roll for me, please.
Yeah, that was rough. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no bonuses
Hold on,
on
to
this
make my
one.
persuasion. Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, a natural 20.
Whoa!
Natural 20.
I guess he felt sorry for me.
Very
You're
well.
persuasive even when you are trying.
Yeah.
Very
Big.
very well,
He's a
sister.
nice guy, clearly.
He looks at you, contemplates you for a moment, kind of squints his eyes at you, bows his head, and goes, "Very well, sister. I can see that you are a follower of the faith, and I do believe that your quest is true. You may step forward into the holy grounds of Ragnok and commune with the mighty Talos, but your friends must stay outside the henge, for they are
I'm
not
gonna
followers.
give Cauldron and Damien a look. I'll say they'll stay back. Oh yeah, because they don't speak Orc, so I'm gonna turn around and let the party know that they can't be there.
Does anybody in the party besides you speak Orc? I think, are you the only one?
I think I'm the only one.
Okay.
So I'm gonna turn around and relay what I'm about to do and what they cannot do. I'm gonna let them know what's going on.
Juger clearly is not happy with the situation. I don't know, lass. I don't like the idea of you going off with these, can we say, strange folk. You know, they turn into bloody boars. I mean, people call me boorish, but I mean, that's taking it too far, I think. I'd really like to stay close. So he comes and
stay
stands.
close, but you're not allowed inside the henge.
Oh, right, I'll play nice. Will they go after you? I swear that my blade's coming out and I'm not gonna care who they are.
Well, I respect that, but I trust these people, so just stay back for now.
Juger goes and pulls himself up in between the henge stones. And he's like, ooh, what a nice, this is very nice work they've got here. He starts actually getting a little bit lost for a moment in the stonework of the henge stones themselves, and he's looking at how well the stones fit together, and he's like, how the bloody hell did they get this thing together? You know, it's clear that he's impressed, and he's somewhat lost in the moment looking at the stonework himself. What is the rest of the party going to do?
Keep Druger from going in the henge.
Thank you.
There's no wine. You're safe. So, all right. Cauldron. Sorry, not Cauldron. Elrin. As you come into the center, the closer and closer you get to the center, the more your fingers are tingling. Your whole body feels energized. And as you come towards the center, you see stepping out of the stone. They appear to literally be manifesting themselves out of the stone themselves. You see 3 more of the priests step out from around the henge. They seem to melt out of the actual stone itself. And they bring you to the very center of the henge. And they start to chant. They start to pray, and whatever language they're using, if it's Orc, it's a derivative you've never heard before. It's guttural, it's primal. There's an earthiness to the sound. And the more they begin to chant, the more the energy is beginning to crackle on you. You start to feel lighter, and you start to feel as if your feet are coming up off of the ground. And then, just as you feel yourself like you're rising up off of the ground, there is a bright flash in front of you, and you disappear from the view of the party, along with the priests. Everyone sees you guys all vanish in a flash.
What am I currently experiencing?
As you are standing there, and you're floating in this ethereal soup of electric energy and thunder and earth crashes. It sounds like earthquakes and lightning and thunder all at the same time. But you don't feel scared. You feel strangely attuned to it. You notice the 4 priests starting to whirl about you as if they were flying through the air, but not flying. They're still, their feet are on the ground, but it almost feels like the whole hilltop is flying. And then suddenly, all of them merge into one, and standing in front of you is an enormous blue boar that is glowing with energy. His eyes are crackling with lightning, and sparks and lightning and static are coming off of his tusks. And he looks down at you and says, "Why are you here, child? Do you come to save the followers of Talos?"
I'm here to save everybody.
You see him
I'm just
shake.
trying to.
He shakes and shivers like a wet dog trying to shake off water, and as he does, sparks of energy fly off of him and strike into the various pillars of the henge around you and crackle down into the ground. As they do, you look over to your compatriots, and you can see them on the outside of the henge, but they appear to be frozen in place. Looks of astonishment on their faces. You see Druger reaching forward as if he was trying to reach out into the center of the henge. But they're strangely black and white, no color, and they're frozen in place. The only place that seems to have any color at all is where you are standing on top of the henge right now. As you look at this enormous, gigantic boar in front of you. That is a noble response. I must say, it is refreshing to find someone who wishes to help others with no regard for their own personal gain. Tell me, sister, to whom do you serve?
Well, I serve my God, I serve my friends, and I serve the world. I serve the good, and I serve the kind, and I serve those that don't harm.
But sister, in following Talos, for some people, the children that I protect, Talos's might, Talos's wrath, Talos's rage is what they have used to keep themselves safe for eons before the humans came to this land and desecrated it, taking it from them. You say that you are here for the good of all? I say that actions speak louder than words, and deeds are the best indication of intentions. This land, Ragnok, is one of the most cherished of all of Talos's children. But soon there will be those that will try to take it from my children and steal my children from this land. My children, the children of Talos, the half-orcs as you call them, are unique. They were thrown down from the mountains where they had been living, where they had been exiled by the humans, who had stolen the land from them. You and your followers and your brothers and your sisters took the land that was rightfully theirs and exiled them to bear a sparse existence off of the very rock of the mountains. That doesn't sound like peace to me. But in time, they came to form a fellowship with the true orcs of the mountains, and they lived in peace and prospered, in a fashion. But you continued to hunt them. When they tried to come back down to the woods, to the lands, to the rivers that we had given them, you hunted them down and forced them back up into the mountains. Is this your interpretation of Talos's teachings?
I don't think so. I think I am just trying my best with my traveling group of companions. I think we're just trying to do what's right. And if I hurt people, if I hurt brothers and I hurt sisters, it was never because of any greed or malice intentionally. It was because I was just trying to do what I thought was right.
You see him put his nose very close to you as he's inspecting you. He leans forward to get his eyes on the same level as yours. You standing up straight, your head comes right about to the bottom of his chin. So he has to stoop quite low to look you squarely in the eyes. I do understand, I think, what you say. You see, my children are unique in the tribe that you call half-orcs. They can take on my form. This was a gift given to them by Talos to keep them grounded with nature, to make them one with the soil, to make them one with the forest, to understand the harmony they must keep. But they have come under attack because of this gift. There is a demon in the top of the mountains, in Icespire, as you call it, who seeks my children because of this gift, and uses it to create an abomination of magic, using the ability to change and to shapeshift, to create distortions of their form and distortions of other forms. The dragons, the worms, the ones who burn and leave nothing in their wake, is whom this demon serves. Are you an enemy of this demon?
Yes, that's what we're here to fight.
Very well. As I said before, actions and deeds. Prove yourself. Defend this land of Talos. And he vanishes in front of you. And the shimmering energy that you have seen begins to fall away like raindrops, like a curtain of water falling over a rainfall, as the dome of energy that was surrounding the top of the mountain, of the hill that you are on, falls away. And as it does, your compatriots on the other side of the hill now can be seen, and they're yelling towards you as you become visible And as they do, you see a large group appear from outside of the trees. And ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to roll for initiative.
Wait. What do they look like?
You'll see them in just a moment.
Oh, God. That was kind of deep, y'all. I gotta shake that one off.
All right. Let me get everybody in here. Can I grab your... There we go. I couldn't grab your character. There we are. There we are. Is everybody in the combat? All right, folks. Roll your initiative. Ruger, you can roll your own. All right, folks. And as they say, here we go. All right. Let's see. To our order of combat, the first person to move is someone you can't see yet. Ninako, you see a rather large creature chasing towards you. And he targets...
Oh, are they coming from the south?
Yes, they're coming from this direction over here. You just see this creature come charging in.
What? My friends! Help!
Yeah, well, it might be a good idea, yeah. Just 1 second here. Can you guys can see, right? You guys aren't locked up or anything anymore, are you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Yeah, we can see it.
So well, you guys have this coming through the trees on that side, and Elrin, all of a sudden you find yourself this large, heavily armored, very impressive looking full orc comes charging at you, screaming death to Talos as he swings his great axe at you. And you are now engaged in combat. He tries to attack, swinging at you, and misses horribly with his first attack. As he does, he misses with the first one, and he tries to swing back with the axe on a backswing. And misses with the second. There's something about this cleric, I'm telling you.
It's the power of Talos, guys.
It clearly is. And as he swings the first one, it misses horribly. And as he swings back with the back one, you simply lean back, very Matrix style, as the blade passes harmlessly over the front of your face. And as he does, you ready yourself and pull out your weapon, and the energy of Talos is now crackling through you, coming up from the ground. Cauldron. You're up.
These guys are just underneath this tree over here, right?
That is correct. They came charging up from the bottom of the hill, and now they're right next to you. They're just down below you guys on the next level down on this kind of beehive-shaped hill that they're coming up.
Can you show me where my owl is in here? I can't seem to find him.
Oh, you know what? I may have when I was locking everybody in place, I may have accidentally clobbered him. 1 second, let me bring him in. My apologies.
He's still asleep at the camp.
No. I think I may have accidentally clobbered him when I pulled him in. I apologize there, Ruger. There you go.
Oh, no problem.
Well,
I just thought I met another owl, and they were.
that's the wrong one. That's him. There you go.
Okay.
That's your owl because that's the one that glows. And we need to add him to the combat, and then have him roll his initiative 2, please.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you very much. All right, Cauldron. You see coming up the hill, you see 3 of those crocodilian type of orcish creatures. They look like cross between orcs and kobolds as they come charging up the hill. And behind them, a very large, very scaly, white and shimmering looking orcish looking thing behind them that is howling as it comes charging up the hillside.
I am going to take steady aim and attack him with my short bow.
Very good. You pull back with your arrow. It flies through the air and strikes it squarely in the shoulder. You see the arrow, and he roars as the arrow sticks him in the joint and hits for 12 points of damage as it starts to scream, and like you could see the snarling as it feels the shot hit it, and you can tell it's like he's remembering that you've got that thing and he's gonna make you pay.
That's my turn.
There you go. Awesome. Fantastic. Great shot. So moving along, the next creature that's up for bids is this guy right here. And all of a sudden, Ninako, you see another creature come charging in. As he charges in through into the henge, you see as he passes through this area right here, as he passes through, you see him suddenly take what looks like a blast of electrical energy from out of nowhere. And as he does, you see him stiffen up and scream as the energy arcs off of him and cascades into the ground, almost like sparks coming off of a foundry. And he howls and stumbles and stops his progression right there. The creature behind comes charging into the space, and as he hits here, you can see this large scaly creature with an enormous falchion in one hand trying to reach into the henge, but the opening between the rocks is too small and he can't get his huge enormous body through the opening between all the spaces. And as he starts howling and snarling and spitting as he's reaching in, you see the energy crackling along his body, but for whatever reason it doesn't seem to bother him. Moving on to the next creature. Two, three, 4, 5, 6. You see this crocodilian creature charging up the hill space here in what seems to be, for all intents and purposes, a suicide run. He pulls out his crossbow and he targets our good friend Druger, and tries to shoot him. And the rushed shot passes harmlessly over his head and ends up not being able to hit him. But it's clear that this creature has absolutely no self-preservation and has nothing but bloodlust in his eyes as he comes charging up the hill. But as he starts to run up the hill, Mr. Owl finds himself directly overhead, looking down on this creature from above. What would you like to do, Mr. Owl?
The owl's gonna firebolt him.
All right, go ahead and target him. Through your celestial connection with your familiar, you manage to channel through your celestial magic energy from your deity, and passing through the owl as his eyes begin to glow red, and he fires out a bolt of flame down at this creature. And it strikes the creature, I believe. Was that right? No, it missed. I'm sorry. It did miss. Very, very close as the creature manages to just barely sidestep out of the way as the flame bolt passes harmlessly down and burns into the grass down below him, which now carries us over to Damien. Damien, you are on the hillside. You can see this creature right here that has now stepped in front of you. He's now out in the clearing, but you can see the other ones off here in the grass. They're quickly making progress and climbing their way up the hill. What would you like to do?
I'm just gonna do a physical slashing attack with Talon to the orc that's directly in front of me. Then.
All right, so you go and proceed down, pulling out your war-bonded weapon. You raise your hand to the air, and your weapon flies out of the scabbard, jumps directly into your hand. You target him, and you swing down with Talon on your first attack. And your attack, the blade comes down and strikes squarely into the upper body of this crocodilian creature, piercing down into his armor and doing 15 points of damage to this creature. There's something about your blade that seems to be particularly effective against this creature, and as the blade hits, you see its expression, if there is such a thing on a crocodilian type of creature, seem to change and go from looking like someone who was hell-bent on causing pain to someone who is now quite capable of doing of being in trouble himself. But as he looks at you, all of a sudden his mouth opens and black ooze seeps out of his mouth down through his teeth, and instead of being able to say anything or try to counterstrike you, you notice it just opens up. The wound continues to open and open and open, and it just falls to its knees and onto its back, lifeless and motionless on the ground. You still have one action left, sir.
I guess I will do one more attack with Talon.
He's dead.
Find the closest one to me and attack him.
Okay. You'd already moved 10 feet. 5, 10.
DM,
Yes?
I got a pop-up that says new Elrin is hit by longsword +1 Talon.
Oh,
War bonded and can use it in
sorry.
action.
I forgot to untarget you. Just ignore it.
Did he just hit me then?
Yeah, don't worry. We can fix that.
Oh, I didn't take damage. It's fine.
That was my fault. We can fix
Friendly
that.
fire.
Yeah, friendly fire. Don't worry. We got you taken care of there. All right, I'm gonna move you here so that doesn't happen again. There we go. We'll put you right there. Now we don't have to worry about that anymore. That was just a weird artifact of where you were standing. All right, so Damien charges down towards the oncoming enemies from down below. And that is the end of his turn then? All right. The creature that was coming up the hill steps forward to meet him in his advancement down the hill towards them, and targets him with his great axe and takes a swipe at the white-haired monster hunter. The blade swings across and misses Damien. I'm still targeting people. I gotta remember to turn that off. He manages to miss with his attack. Damien, your silky smooth hair flowing in the wind behind you as you effortlessly sidestep the awkward and off-balance blade as it harmlessly sinks into the grass at your feet. Moving on to the next character, Elrin. It is now your turn.
Okay, I think I can do a little thunder wave.
There you go.
Wait, let me place down my ruler, make sure I'm not gonna hurt anybody if I do that. Oh, what the hell? No, that's not what I meant to do.
Thunder
Sorry.
wave from you, or you're going to use thunder way from the hat, because for you to use it, you need to be struck. If you're using it from your
What?
tiara, if you're using it from the artifact
This
you're
isn't a
wearing,
reaction spell, I don't think.
yeah, you think it only can be used if she gets struck. Isn't that what the description says?
That's her cleric subclass feature.
Okay.
I was gonna say I've used Thunderwave before.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. Let it. Yes, that's right. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Use.
Unless, wait, let me read though. Let me read just in case. Yeah, no, it doesn't specify anything saying that it's only for
Oh, yeah.
reactions.
You're right. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You're right.
Let me just see how far away. Okay, great. So the only person who could possibly get hurt would be the owl, but
Actually,
he's not
even
even that close to it.
Each one of those
Great.
squares is only
So I'm
5 feet, and the range is not that far.
It's 15, but then there's another 10 feet of a blast, like things getting pushed backwards.
Okay.
Then why don't you use it over here?
Yeah. Like, try and
No,
cast
that's
it.
what I mean. That's,
Go ahead.
yeah, no, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to find a good place to be the center of all this. Hold on. Let me just make sure that I can still.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna
Remember,
stand
in
right
the
here.
15
This is
foot area, anything that gets hit is the one that gets pushed back 10 feet. There's not another 10 feet of push. It's in that 15 in that 15-foot space. Okay.
Got it. Ugh, I'm gonna miss him. That's fine. I'm gonna miss him. That's fine. I'm gonna get this guy. I'm gonna get this guy, and I'm gonna get that guy. Okay. So sorry. Let me get it here. Bam. I'm gonna. Okay, and then. Huh. No, I placed it in the wrong spot. I keep getting confused because it looks like the epicenter is where. Sorry, the way that the template is. Can you scoot it for me to where I am?
Okay, hold on a second. You're trying to get me to do what? This?
Sorry.
Are you trying to do this?
Scoot it so that I'm at the center of it.
Like that?
There. Yes.
Okay, so this guy's not going to get hit because he's too far away.
That's not no.
Oh.
15 feet. That's 15 feet.
Okay. Yep.
I don't think the template is big enough.
I think you shrunk the template while moving it.
Supposed to be 15 by 15.
Oh,
With-
if it is
15.
bad.
Yeah, it's 15 by 15. That is the size. Honey, it's 15 by 15, not a 15-foot radius. It's a cube that is 15 feet across with you in the center.
Are you absolutely kidding
But
me?
you get two
Okay, well,
things,
does the big guy
so-
get hit?
What was that? What
I
was
get
that?
2 things? I get what? Oh yeah, I did hit 2 things. As long as I hit the big guy, we're fine.
Okay, target them both. Okay, now cast your spell.
Uh-huh.
All right. There you go. Okay, 13 points of damage. They have to make a DC 14 saving throw to get away from that. So this one that's already taken a little bit of damage, let's see how he does. It is a Constitution saving throw of 14. And the small guy makes his saving throw. And the big guy does not. Okay, so he is going to take the 13 points of damage. So that takes him down to... There we go. And, more importantly, He is now pushed back 10 feet away. So he is pushed back away from the opening and can't try to reach out towards you anymore. Now that boom went out 300 feet away from you, and everyone absolutely has heard this. Now, when you cast a spell, no, you cast that as just a first level spell, correct?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So that spell has now gone. You've now smacked one guy, and he's taken damage, and he's been pushed back, and the other one that's right in front of you managed to resist. Technically, I should have made you take a disengage, or else there would have been an opportunity attack against you if you walked away, but I should have mentioned that before you moved. So I didn't, so we won't do that. But next time, just remember, if you walk away from somebody you're fighting from, you need to disengage, or else you will be taking damage.
Sorry.
All right.
Forgot.
Yeah, it's all right. Next time we won't be. We'll enforce that rule. All right. Druger decides that he's not going to sit there and wait for you to get munched. So he runs in. 3, 4, 5, 6. He runs into the circle, hoping to come to your aid. And that's as far as he can go this turn. Ruger, your turn. Actually, he can dash. I'm going to have him dash, and he's just going to dash into the middle to make himself a target for these guys. So that was the end of his turn. So go ahead, Ruger, it's your turn.
All right. I'll probably try to take on some of these guys over here.
Okie dokie.
4, 5, 6. These are 5-foot squares?
That is correct. So you can go 6 and still have an attack action left.
Okay, I'm going to go here and do a bolt of planar lightning against the big guy.
Awesome. Go ahead and light him up. Calling out the big guns already.
Oh, yeah, we don't want him getting too close if we can help it. He smells awful.
And you hit. Go ahead and roll your damage. Oh, 23 points of damage. Now, that's the second strike that this guy has taken. He's now starting to look kind of in trouble. You start noticing that there is blood seeping out. Black, oily-looking blood seeping out across the whitish scales that are making up the majority of this creature's chitinous skin. Or probably scaly skin. Yeah, scaly skin. Not chitinous skin. Scaly skin. And he howls out as he gets struck.
That's it for my turn.
All right. This creature takes a step forward and targets Damien. Pulls out his great axe and attacks. And he attacks with advantage and manages to miss even with having advantage. The blade swings towards our white-haired friend, who effortlessly parries the awkward stroke away with his war-bonded sword talon, rendering it absolutely harmless. That's the word I was looking for. Another one of these creatures tries to charge into the circle. And let me make his roll. And he manages to make his saving throw, and he manages to get into the circle, and he targets Elrin. And he attacks her with his great axe with advantage. And he strikes true and solid.
Can I do a reaction?
What reaction do you want to use?
Says either Wrath of the Storm or Warcaster.
Wrath of the Storm is what you can strike with. What is Wrath
Do
of
I
the
target him or is it already?
You can go ahead and target. I think you have to target him with that.
Was it this big guy here?
Was this guy right here?
Oh wait, no, it was one of the little guys.
Yep, this guy right here. So, when a creature within 5 feet of you that can see you and attacks, you can use a reaction to cause the creature to take a dexterity saving throw. The creature takes 2d8 lightning or thunder damage, your choice, on a failed saving throw, and half as much on a successful one. So, he's your wisdom modifier. What is your wisdom modifier? Your wisdom modifier, what is your wisdom?
Is 17. It says plus.
Your modifier is plus 3.
It says
so
plus 3 on one side and.
Yes, which means you
Okay.
can cast that 3 times. You've used it once. Alright? And as you do, he needs to make a DC 13 saving throw against that. Here comes his saving throw. And he makes the saving throw, so he only takes half the damage. Please roll 2d6. Thunder or lightning damage? Do you care?
I'll say lightning.
Alright, go ahead and hit him with lightning. And you hit him for 4 points of damage.
Oh, we round down here.
Yes, you actually should be rounding
The
up, so I
general
guess.
rule.
Yeah. What? Hold
I
on.
hate that.
Hold on. What is going on? There he is. There we go. What is... I can't... It won't take numbers. There we go. Jeez Louise. That was a little... Okay, why... I'm not exactly sure how that happened, but one guy started pulsating, and so now another one started... Yeah, he got pulsated because you just zapped him. So that guy is actually... You see him start to crackle with electricity, and now he's stopped. Alright, but his strike against you still works, and his damage is...
Wait, didn't you roll 2d6? You should have rolled 2d8.
Yeah, she should have. Did you roll 2d6? You did. There's your damage. You rolled 2d6. You should have rolled 2d8. So can you roll that again?
Okay. Sure can.
7. We'll keep the 6. Well, we'll keep the 2d6. It was higher. All right. All right. So, Elrin, you take a shot across your right arm with this rather nasty-looking great axe that this crocodilian creature swings at you, and it pierces through and manages to supersede your armor and actually take a bite into you. Ravina is now up. Everybody's favorite warlock.
So I know that every time we play this, we always ask. We can do up to 30 feet of traveling and then attack, right?
That is
still
correct.
maintain an attack.
That is correct.
Okay, right. So I have her go like right here.
Okay.
Bam. Oh shit! Oh, she got it.
There you go.
Okay. She's gonna come to my rescue. Let's do something crazy. Like, I'm gonna do Hellish Rebuke.
You can't do Hellish
Just sounds
Rebuke.
pretty. Why?
Hellish Rebuke
That's
is when you get...
Oh,
another
it's when you are
reaction
damaged.
Yeah.
It's when you're damaged. I see.
Correct.
I see. Sorry. This isn't my character.
I understand. You're a stand-in. We understand. You're the understudy. We know how this works.
Yes. Yes, I understood. Is it sword burst? No, that's not the one I'm thinking of. I'm just gonna do a good Eldritch Blast. You can't go wrong.
All right.
And I'm gonna have it go to this guy in front of Elrin. Did I roll?
You have to
Did
click
it take on the sheet?
you have to click the attack button. You just clicked Eldritch Blast. Now you had to
Oh,
click the attack button. This is an attack spell
okay, great.
where you actually have to strike the person. There you go, and your beam comes in,
Oh.
but comes ever so close, but misses. He manages to duck out of the way as the beam strikes into the granite next to him. You still have one more beam? One more beam.
All right, I'm just gonna try again.
There we go. Second beam hits.
There we go.
Roll your damage. Ooh, you do 11 points of damage. The creature is now starting to look quite bloodied. He's now looking like he's doing very, very poorly as he's been struck now twice. And because of that, he's been pushed back 5 feet, which means he's been pushed back into the barrier, which for him means he needs to make another saving throw. And he makes his saving throw this time. So he does not get zapped a second time as he gets pushed back out of the membrane. Alright, is that it for Ravina? I think that's it for Ravina, yes?
I don't think there's much else she can do now.
I don't think there is either. So, 1, 2, 3. Pushes in through the barrier. And makes his saving throw. And targets our good friend Elrin. All of a sudden, just as you push one of them back, and you see one of the crocodilian creatures get pushed back out of the electric field that surrounds the top of Ragnok. Just as you see the Eldritch Blast push one of them out of the way, another one steps in his place, a large blue-skinned orc holding on to a large, very nasty-looking javelin, and he tries to stab you with it. And he misses with his first attack, so he tries with a second. And he hits with the second one, doing damage to you, and he does 6 points of damage as the tip of his javelin manages to pierce through the abdomen of your armor and strike into you again. You should have been prompted if you wanted to be able to do another I believe there's no limitation that would keep you from being able to do it again, I think.
No, I didn't get a pop-up, so for whatever reason, I don't need.
Maybe because you can only do, let me take a quick look at that. Wrath of the Storm. Okay, you've already used your reaction, so no, you can't, because you've already used your reaction for this turn. That's why. Okay.
Gotcha.
Alright. That ends the first round of combat. We're now in the second round. The creature that is standing in front of Druger gets this evil-looking look on his face. He goes, "I love to eat dwarf," and he targets the hill dwarf, pulls up his great axe and tries to smack him with it. As he swings the heavy metal blade down, he misses with the first one. He swings with the second. That should have been with advantage, but we'll do it again this way. And he manages to hit with the second one. The second blade comes down and manages to hit our good friend glancing blow off of the leg armor as it swings down, trying to cut the bold orc in half, but all it manages to do is take a good chunk out of his leg as he swings towards the ground. The blade does do damage, but glances off and buries itself into the grass. Cauldron, your turn in combat.
Alrighty, let me measure distance over here. Oh. Doesn't appear I can get over there.
Not quite.
So
But you can always hide behind. You can always hide behind the paladin, because thieves never do that. Oops, did we lose her?
No, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm thinking. I'll move over here. And
Pulling up
move
alongside
over there.
pulling up alongside of the paladin. So Elrin sneaks her way across the battlefield, sneaks up next to the two heavily armored gentlemen next to her, and using them as meat shields.
And attack this guy.
The short bow of death as she shish kebabs, but this and hits. Even with an 8, she manages to hit. Go ahead and roll your damage.
I do not get sneak attack.
Pity. Ooh, but still a decent shot with your bow. You're downright deadly with that darn thing, let me tell you.
And that's my turn.
Alrighty, hold on one quick second, folks. I will be right back. Sorry about that, I had to open the door for someone. Alright. So Cauldron, you notice as your arrow hits, you're noticing that this creature is starting to look in bad shape, but his eyes are literally glowing with rage. Moving on. Elrin, one of the creatures that has been targeting you has changed his attention for the dwarf next to him as he pulls out his great axe and takes a shot at our friend with the heavy mail. Striking with advantage. Ooh, a heavy shot. And the damage is not very much. His armor glancing off and deflecting most of the damage and causing it to be effective, but only moderately so against the heavily armed dwarf. Moving on to the next creature. This creature now decides to charge. 1, 2, 3, 4. And as he does, all the creatures, all of you folks in this immediate area surrounding him, all of you notice it getting insanely cold. And all of you need to Alright. All of you feel this incredibly intense cold around you. And as it does, all of you take 1d6 of cold damage.
Do we roll or do you roll?
I do.
Okay.
Each one of
I'm
you,
sensing fire.
all of you take 2 points of damage from cold as you notice all of your weapons starting to frost over as this creature approaches you, and you see your breath starting to create vapor in front of you as it gets within proximity of you, and it's almost like grabbing metal in a cold winter's day. But as it comes in, it decides to target the Celestial. It detects that the Celestial is, in fact, its natural enemy. You're the guy who blasted him with the bolt of planar lightning, and he remembers. So he pulls out this enormous falchion, and he attacks you with it. Natural 20. Critical hit.
Oh no!
Oh my
Are we
gosh.
supposed to be able to see your
No
rolls? I
bueno.
can't see any of them.
I can show them to you. Here. Reveal
Oh, it
to
doesn't
everyone.
matter. I was just wondering.
Reveal. And yeah. So yes, you just took a brutal shot for 15 points of damage from this creature. And let me just check something really quickly.
That's to be about concentration, but I don't think I have anything running.
I don't think you do either. I think it might be confusing the familiar, but there's nothing with the
okay.
familiar that you need to do concentration on, so not an issue. So just ignore it.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, that was not fun. So you guys notice that this huge, enormous falchion slams into Ruger's breastplate, and not only does he take the shot from the blade itself, which rents into his armor, as he actually gets struck, he takes another 1d6 in cold damage. Another 2 points of cold damage. So Ruger, you're now down to 30 points. Down to 30 hit points.
Okay.
All right. But your owl, which happens to be flying over your head, it's now his turn.
Let's see if the owl can distract a little bit.
Okay.
And hit him with the firebolt.
Alrighty.
I don't know how he can miss him, but we'll see if he can hit.
As the bolt comes down, you see the red eyes glowing in your otherwise pristine blue owl, and they blast out and they strike this creature, and he howls. It does an astonishing amount of damage to him, and all of a sudden it screams out in pain and drops dead, smoking and spittering and sputtering as the flames start to encompass all of its body, and it drops to the ground as a seething, heaving mess.
Okay, fire. Fire good. Fire good.
Fire good. Fire is our friend. Now don't inhale until the tip glows. Sorry. All right, so your energizing owl has become your avenging owl. As it's like, yeah, you're not gonna do that to my master, and it goes and blasts him. So, Damien, the heavy-duty fighter bad guy that was next to you has just been evaporated by the owl's icy, well, no, not icy, but blazing stare. You have two of the crocodilian-type creatures in front of you. What would you like to do, sir? I think we may have lost him. So I will go ahead and say he's going to target the first one. Yeah, I know he's in a really bad spot for audio right now. So his first attack coming in with Talon. Boom, comes down onto this creature. But it misses, so he attacks with the backswing against it. And hits, using it as a hand-and-a-half sword. He hits it for the full maximum of 17 points of damage. It dodges out of the way of the first one, and Damien comes and whips it around, doing elegant figure eights, catches the creature straight into the mouth and goes right through the back of the skull, and then pulls back and separates it like a loaf of bread, and the creature drops to the ground, dead as a doornail. I gotta find the right one. Where is he? There he is. Boom. Drops him dead as a doornail. And Damien hits the elegant hero pose at the end of the action, ending his turn. The Orc Bold next to him targets Damien as a result, but now no longer has his advantage, striking at him with his great axe. Misses horribly, clearly shaken by his two compatriots who were much tougher than he, who apparently were no match for the creatures on the top of the hill. But he's still going to continue to try and duke it out. Elrin, your attack. Your turn, I should say. You don't need to attack, but
Yeah, I was gonna say there may be no attacking for Miss Elrin right now. I am hurting.
okay.
I'm gonna go over here.
Okay, if that's what
Oh,
you're
do I
gonna
have to disengage?
You have to disengage, or else you will take opportunity attacks. Okay, so you're
Okay,
going to
how do I
disengage.
do
Just say you're disengaging,
Mhm.
and then moving away. Otherwise, which means you're basically walking backwards and defending yourself. You're doing a retreat. Okay.
Okay. Yep. Pink.
Okay, there you go. So you managed
And
to
then
pull
I'm-
yourself over to the other side of the top of Ragnok. You're still inside what you can see as the energy shield. You're not sure if anybody else can see it.
Okay. Very cute. I'm gonna heal myself because ow.
Okay.
Um.
Target yourself.
Who else is there anybody else that's not doing well?
I'm not doing that.
Ruger's not doing great. Ruger's not doing great at all, but I think it's safe to say, kind of out of immediate danger.
I'm a little bit removed from you, but
It just seems like such a waste. I have so many. I can choose up to 6 creatures if I wanted to do. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna do a good old-fashioned Prayer of Healing. It's a concentration spell, I believe, but I think I'm out of the
Prayer of
way
Healing
enough.
takes like 10 minutes
Yeah.
to cast.
It's a ritual spell.
Oh, never mind, never mind, never mind. Never mind, never mind, never mind.
Okay, while
Okay,
you're thinking.
I'm just gonna have to heal myself.
Okay.
No,
heal
no,
yourself.
no. I'm
Okay.
I'm just gonna heal myself. I will help you when the time comes, Ruger.
When the time comes.
I feel like my time may be coming soon.
I mean, Ruger also has like his own lay on hands points, right?
That's
So,
I
True.
will make sure I survive. Don't worry.
Self-preservation is a thing. Uh,
Love that for us.
okay, you're using healing word.
Yes.
Okay, so you used that on yourself. Okay, interesting. All right,
Yep.
there you go. Okay,
How is that interesting? What else would be best?
I would have just used Cure Light Wounds. that's me. All right. So our
I mean, I think the spell points are higher, though, isn't it?
No, it's the same.
it's the same level
Oh.
spell. So next time,
Well, then it doesn't really matter then.
well, no, it
Well,
cure light
wounds is
wounds
more.
it heals you for a lot more.
Wait, then why did I do that?
I don't know.
That's why we were questioning you.
The difference is healing
Can
words.
I
You can do
revoke it?
You could do it at a distance to somebody
And it's a
within
bonus
60
action.
feet. Yeah, and you can do it if someone's about to drop dead. It doesn't have to be your turn
What?
per se. You could just drop it. You know, you could drop that spell.
No, it has to
What?
be your turn.
Well,
but,
yeah, that's right. But what I mean is,
but it's a bonus action.
right?
but
Thank you.
it's-
Yeah,
It doesn't consume all of your turn.
exactly. That's what I was trying to say.
Well,
It-
can I revoke it?
Yes, we'll let you revoke it. Go ahead and cast. Just make sure you deselect the option for using a spell slot. Okay. Next time,
Okay, did you take the points away that I just got back?
I will take them back.
I could take 7 off.
It's okay. I'll
I
do
can
it
take
right
'em off.
now. Go ahead, take them off.
Okay. 25, right? That's how you do math?
Yeah, because I get to just right mouse clicked and made them go back, but that's fine. You do it. Okay. But next time, know your spell. Damn it!
There's a lot of the healing ones. I get confused.
Well, that is true. Clerics have a lot of spells. That is true. There you go, and you healed yourself for 8 this time, so it actually worked out better. There you go.
Yeah. Yay, 1 extra point.
There you go.
So what are you up to now?
She is up to 33.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's kind of out of the danger zone. She was down around 50% there for a minute. She's in a little bit better condition now. And right. So Druger decides that he is going to use.
Wait, I have a question.
Yes. Mhm.
If healing word is a bonus action, can I heal Ruger from where I am right now?
No, because you can't cast two leveled spells in the same turn.
Thank you. Yes, that is correct.
Fine.
You can do a leveled
Okay.
spell and a cantrip.
It was worth a shot.
Yeah, I understand.
It was worth asking.
It's always worth asking. And
Thanks
believe
for
it or not,
thinking of me.
it is way more lenient than 1E was. Just trust me. 1E, we used to tell people don't get attached to your characters. Just don't. there was really no point. It wasn't a question of if it was going to die, it was only a matter of when. All right, so
And how?
and how? Yes, usually you really wanted to die gloriously. Gloriously. So, Druger is going to use menacing attack. So, when he hits this, if he can hit this creature, he will expend one of his superiority dice, and if he manages to be successful on a failed saving throw, that creature is frightened until the end of his next turn, which means it will do
Excellent.
everything in its power to get as far away from him as it possibly can. So here he goes. He is going to use one of his superiority dice. He's going to use, I guess you click on this to make that happen. Yes, you do. He uses superiority dice for menacing attack. And he swings down with Hugh. Oh, please hit. Oh! Ignore the hit on Kenji, because I still have him targeted. My bad. That should not have happened. So just ignore that.
It's a divot.
It'll
heal.
Mulligan! Mulligan. Alright, let's, so that is a 22 that he struck with, and this guy's AC was 18, so that is a hit, which means versatile damage. Oh! There we
I think
go.
Kenji got hit again.
Yeah, I can back that out of him, don't worry. I just undid it for him. But yes, that was 15 points of damage to this orc leader as you see him stagger back as this hatchet slams directly into his stomach. And as he does, he must make his saving throw versus the menacing attack or be frightened. He needs to make a wisdom DC saving throw of 16. And these guys are not super smart. And he rolls a 12. So, this guy is now frightened. And will immediately start to run in the other direction to get as far away from him as he possibly can, allowing Ruger to now target someone else. Did I? Yeah, I did untarget him. Good. Targets the other creature next to him and brings that blade down with all of his might on the smaller crocodilian creature and crashes it into his face with both hands, swinging the blade for all of his strength, and he does 12 points of damage. The blow is brutal. Oops, wrong person. But he is bloodied anyway, so that's not a problem. The creature, the crocodilian creature, is now staggered and bleeding, black, oily, pussy blood coming out of several fissures in its external natural armor from these blows. And Druger decides that he's going to stop there. He's not going to press his advantage any further. Ruger, your turn, sir.
All right. This large dead thing is no longer radiating cold, right?
Nope.
Well, I suppose I'll go around this side anyway.
You sound so disappointed when you say it that way. I could bring him back to life and freeze you more. I mean, really, it's no problem. I'm okay with that.
I think I've had enough experience with this battle. I'm good. Maybe somebody else deserves a shot. Yeah, I'm gonna take on this little pipsqueak and try to just handily decapitate him.
Friendly.
Cute. Just a
I am
cute
gonna
little
use.
decapitation.
I'm gonna use booming blade on this little dude.
Oh, not just is he going to hit him, he's going to hit him and do damage and embarrass him at the same time. It's like, not just kill him, we're going to embarrass him. Here we go.
I just get tired of someone always running and getting away from us. I'm not gonna let that happen again.
Oh! You do a 26 on your attack roll, and you do 12 points of damage. Now, unfortunately, this creature does not qualify for the Dragon Slayer bonus feature, which would have been absolutely devastating had you done so. But you still do 12 points of damage to this creature, plus a 1d8 for the booming blade, please. Give me a d8, sir. Is it just 1d8?
It says I have to roll an attack.
Yeah, just go ahead.
Oh.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
No, your attack hit, so you just need to... There you go. So you do 13 points to him of the booming blade. So 13 plus, what was the other one, 12, is 25 points of damage to this creature, which only had 5 points of, I think 5 points of hit points left. You unfortunately did it to yourself, so I backed that away from you.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're already in bad enough shape. So this creature, you hear this loud boom as the blade comes down, striking the crocodilian, going straight through the head, going through the torso, coming out through the pelvic region and straight into the ground. And there's a loud kaboom as the creature is split in twain and splashes onto either side of the battlefield from where he was struck and is now dead.
Yeah, as a bonus action, I'm going to cast Sanctuary on myself.
Very good. I'm having a hard time.
Again.
There he is. Where is that guy? There he is.
Just in case that big guy over there smells celestial and can close that distance that fast.
There we go. Alrighty.
And that's all I can do, right? I don't have time to do a lay on hands.
Correct. Did you target
Next turn.
yourself?
I targeted and cast it.
Yeah, you know what? It's waiting for you to do a saving throw. It's just a weirdness in the game. I can fix
Oh, right.
that. Yeah, I'll fix that. So,
Well, I still want the sanctuary, but
yep, I'll give it to you. Just 1 sec.
maybe I failed.
Nope, no, no. You don't have to. When it's against yourself, no. Sanctuary gives you bonuses, right? A bonus on any.
I don't think they can attack
No.
me.
Hold on. A creature who targets the warded creature with an attack or harmful spell must first make a wisdom saving throw. On a fail. Okay, got it. Okay. Alright. Okay. Alright. For whatever reason, it's not placing it on you. Sanct.
Hmm.
Huh. We'll just remember that. So if he tries to attack you, then we know what to do. All right. So that's it for you. That one's dead, and this one.
That's it.
This one tries to go back in again, and as he penetrates the barrier, he needs to make another saving throw. You'd think he'd learn. Oh my god. Okay. All right.
What happened?
Yeah, we can't see whatever you're doing.
Oh, those are private rolls. Okay. As this thing tries to go back through the barrier again, it gets zapped again, and it staggers through the other side of the field and drops to the ground dead. He basically killed himself by going back and forth through the barrier and electrocuting himself. So clearly not the sharpest
roll
knife.
that boulder up the hill, you know.
Yeah, well, you play stupid games. You win stupid prizes. Ravina, Queena, the Dark.
I'm going to make ouchies. Gonna go here. Just get a little bit closer. And let me see. What are like her
you
attacks
just walked
that
up to
like?
a guy who's still alive, right? There's
No, I know.
Okay, just checking. Okay.
Okay. Well, when you say it
I
like
just want to
that,
make
fine,
sure
I'll
that
go
you knew.
back.
No. I just want to make sure you knew that because there's another tile on the top that shows a skull. I just want to make sure you know that one of the guys in that square is still alive.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
What is her attack that has the multiple weapons that shoot out?
Well, that's Cloud of Daggers, which is more of a
Is that
like
Cloud
a.
of the-
It's more like a. That's more of a shield around her. That
Are you
makes.
thinking of
Yeah, no, that's
Agonizing
like it's only a cube. I'm talking like her, like the one where she can like throw a bunch of knives. Is that Sword Burst? No, that's still a circle of swords. Is it Blade Ward?
No.
No.
The spells that she has in her that she can actually cast. She can cast either Scorching Ray. What was the other one she had ready? Scorching Ray, Cloud of Daggers, Fireball, or Thunderstep.
Ah, yes, I see now. I see now where it says what is what.
Yes, because some of that's just because of her being a tiefling.
Let's do her little Scorching Ray.
Scorching Ray. All right.
And I'll get. And am I targeting the alive guy when I do that?
I will make sure that you are. 1 second here. Let me get the guy out of there who's not alive. Yeah, he's the one that's dead, so let me move him. There you go.
Thank you. Scorching ray. We're scorching ray.
Scorching Ray, not to be
Scorching
confused
ray.
with Frigid Al.
Oh my god! You're kidding!
Why did you target all three of them at once? I'm not sure I
thought
understood.
I had to.
It's okay. But did you mean to do all three?
I mean, isn't it that it hits 3 people?
Yes, and it's fine if you did it as 3, which
Yes.
you can do. I just wanted to make sure that that was done intentionally. Unfortunately, they all missed.
Well, can I do them one at a time? I'd rather badly miss one than all 3 of them.
Okay. Yeah, it should be an attack for each ray. Okay. You roll each
Okay.
ray separately.
So can I just badly miss one?
Yes. So target each one separately, and then we'll do it correctly this time. Okay.
Sorry. I don't normally play her.
It's okay. Critical miss.
Oh my god! It's rigged. Okay, I just don't want to badly miss this one because then Trigger's gonna get hurt.
And you missed. You missed on
Whatever.
all 3.
Oh
Sorry.
my god.
That's okay. You have to leave something for us to do.
Yes, exactly. Now this guy.
I know, but when Ravina hits, it's so fun. Because
Oh, it
Ravina
is
just
fun.
leaves nothing in her path.
I
Yes.
agree.
Now this poor foolish mortal runs towards her and yanks out his javelin in one hand and his dagger in the other, and he tries to poke her with his javelin. And he hits. But all of a sudden, this dark person in her, yes. So Ravina has been hit, and she has taken. So did you rolled the damage? Is that what you did for the hellish rebuke?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So Ravina is going to take damage first. She takes. Okay, back that out. She takes 5 points of damage. But she does use Hellish Rebuke, and this gentleman takes 8 points of damage. 8 points of damage. Okay. All right.
I think gentleman is a bit generous.
Well, you know, he's blue. Well, we don't judge. Yes, we do. All right. So now he tries to stab her with his dagger. As he stabs her with the javelin, he then quickly pulls out his dagger. It goes right for her throat with the dagger. And he misses with the dagger. It passes through the air and does nothing more than catch on the edge of her cloak. And that is the end of his turn. We are now in round 4 of combat. This character now, screaming, heads out. 1, 2, 3, 4, and as he hits the barrier, saving throw. And he misses. That's a 10. So he will take 1d6 of damage. And as he gets to the edge, you see him get zapped as he takes another 4 points of damage as he passes through the membrane. All right. Actually, he's running, so that would be even faster. Because he has to run, so that would put him there. All right. All right. Cauldron.
Well, I tried to go over here to attack these people, but they all got
They
killed.
all died. They're dead. Yeah. But if it helps, there's still
Yeah.
this guy, and there's still this guy, and there's still this guy. This guy here,
Yeah.
the big white scaly one, greenish and whitish scales.
He's a good one to attack from afar.
Yeah. Oops.
Oh,
Wow, a
Wow.
20 and a 1.
I mean, talk about extremes.
The duality of man.
So there's where steady aim really comes into its own. Give us your
Crit
Oh
attack.
my god! Oh my god! What the hell? Oh my god! Wow.
Oh my gosh. Is there anything left of him, or is he
Yeah,
just a
well,
smoothie?
sadly though, he's raging, so he's foaming at the mouth as this arrow goes right into his eye socket and disappears into his brain. And you're all like, why isn't he dead? And all he's doing is
Too angry
screaming
to
and
die.
yelling. Yes, he's too angry to die. Exactly. Wow.
Dude, same. I get that.
Wow.
Nice shot.
It's like, but have you ever seen, you know, what was it, Infinity War, where Tony Stark starts punching the Hulk in the face, going, "Go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep," and then the Hulk suddenly looks up and looks at him and goes, "Urgh!" And Tony Stark goes, "I'm sorry," and then immediately the Hulk Buster gets smashed to a million pieces. That's kind of what's just happened. You've just got this thing's attention in a very, very big way. Okay.
That's alright. There's more of us than there are of him.
Yes. This thing takes a shot at Druger, and there's no one to help him anymore. But he takes his swing with his great axe as he staggers forward and puts all of his last life energy into the blade swing. It misses horribly and lands on the ground and just buries the axe head into the grass. And that's the end
Oh,
of
I kind of feel bad for him.
that's the end of
He's
his
trying so
turn.
hard.
Now this
I
one,
don't know. I'm not sure you're supposed to feel bad for the people trying to kill us. Misplaced sympathies, yeah.
actually his rage is now over because he didn't get to hit anything because his rage ran out.
What were we calling those creatures? Like the one I just hit?
This is an Orgon.
They're boogers.
He's no longer raging.
Oh.
Because he didn't strike anything
So
last
soon.
round, so he's no longer raging. But he's still standing.
He's like kind of sad about it. He's like, "Aw, I'm embarrassed. Don't look
He
at
can't.
me."
He knows he can't get in there, so he's gonna go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's as far as he can go.
Well, if he can't get inside the circle,
Yes.
then we can all fight from inside the circle and just shoot him from a
he's
distance.
he's too big to fit through the space between the rocks.
Right. That's excellent. I like that.
Your owl, Mr. Owl, who we seem to have not heard of from a while, who's been flying high air cover, is now up.
Yeah, let's give him something to be distracted about. He's gonna fly up above the henge
Okay.
and shoot at him from above.
All right. How high up is he?
How tall is the henge?
The henge is probably a good, 20 feet in the air above you, and then the henge stones themselves are another 15. So he's gonna have to go at least, like 30 feet in the air. So let's put let's set his altitude. There you go.
Like, yeah.
There you go.
Oh, he really liked the way the firebolt worked last time.
All right, Firebolt. Your owl's eyes suddenly turn red. The energy builds up inside of him and flashes towards him. Came from you, unfortunately, but that's okay. Instead of from the owl this time. And does hit, so do your damage, please. And manages to hit for 3 points of damage, but it seems to hit even harder. The flame striking and immediately blistering the skin. Damien, are you with us? Damien. Okay, I guess he's still offline. Damien takes a step to the side and a step back, and then pulls his longbow out and takes a shot with the longbow. I should have targeted. Sorry. Let's try that again. As he's fading back, he shoots with his longbow. And he manages to hit. Yeah, sorry about that. I'd actually forgot to untarget him, so I will take the damage out. 9 points of damage on the Orgon. The Orgon is now looking extremely bloodied. Now has dark blackish blood starting to trickle out of its mouth. Damien takes another shot with his second attack and hits again, and does another 6 points of damage. The creature is now starting to stagger and appears to be unsteady on its feet. Elrin, you're up.
Okay. I'm going to try to command this guy from afar to stop from running. Because hold person isn't a ranged a ranged attack, is it?
I believe it is.
Oh yeah, I can.
What's the range?
It is
You don't have that memorized.
anyone that I can see with. Oh, it's.
You don't have that.
Oh, I
That's
don't. I
not
can
a
do
prepared
command though.
spell.
I think
I
I can do command though.
Yes, you can.
It's anyone I can see.
Can you
Bing.
see
Oh wait,
him?
did I target him?
You can just see him as he's making his way out. You could just barely see him. So go ahead and target him.
Did I roll?
Did you cast it?
Yeah,
Oh, he
has to make
he's
his.
yeah,
He needs.
sorry, I wasn't watching. So that is against his wisdom. He is not very wise. And he fails, so he stops. You told him to stop, right?
Yeah.
Okay, he is stopped in place. How long does that last for? That lasts for 1 round. So for the end of this round, he will be standing there, not moving. A still target.
Could you imagine?
All right. Druger takes a step into the middle and targets this big hulking brute and decides to use another one of his superiority dice to do a sweeping attack. And he strikes with Hugh. And he hits with a 19, which for him is a critical hit because he has the slasher feature. That will mean double damage. That is actually double versatile damage, which means he hits him for 15 points of damage, and he only had 14. He cuts the creature off right at the legs, and it drops to the ground and starts to howl and scream with a high-pitched noise before it starts to gurgle on its own blood and stops struggling and is now dead on the ground. But using the follow-through, he uses his superiority dice to try and strike the second one. The second creature he hits with his follow-through, and the follow-through does 8 points of damage, burying Hugh directly into the forehead of the crocodilian creature as its 3 measly hit points are used up, and the 5 extra points are used for excellent effect to split his head open, and reminding everybody that they might want to buy an alligator bag for Christmas.
Was that pomp and circumstance
Careful.
you were having?
I heard it in the background, yes. I heard it too. It wasn't just me. And that was only his first attack. So he decides to run out here to the second guy, the guy that he was chasing. He gets to the end and targets him with his longbow. And because the guy is standing perfectly still, I'm giving him advantage. And he hits. And the arrow goes and buries into the back of this creature right up to the hilt. And the frightened condition is now gone on this creature. And that is the end of Druger's turn.
He ain't dead yet?
He ain't dead yet. Nope. Tough little bugger. Ruger. Sir,
All right.
job opportunity.
Well, yeah, but I kind of want to heal myself.
Okay.
So, I'm going to take a minute to sort of, some me time.
Some me time. You know that the guy in front of you is still alive, right?
Well, yeah, but, Cauldron wanted opportunity, and who am I to deny
I
a
see.
cunning rogue?
There we go. Understood. Because we must shish kebab, it is a moral imperative.
I am going to walk through here, and get on the other side of this barrier.
It's like, I'm going over here.
Because I just think, if he can't get through the hinge, why are we bothering to fight him on his turf when he can fight on ours?
Precisely.
And we can
right.
We can hit him from, relative safety. So I can't get my character to move through the.
Yeah. It's tight. I'll get you through the rocks. You're on the other side. You feel as strange. Your celestial body picks up on this odd energy as you pass through some unseen barrier as you pass underneath the hengestone.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna drop the sanctuary and heal myself of all the hit points.
Alrighty.
And yeah. How long is does his weapon go? Do I need to back up further to keep him from?
It does have a 10-foot range.
There.
Takes a step back. Okay. Very good.
And now I'll start taunting him.
Oh, that's so unpaladin of you. Neener, 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 neener.
On the contrary, it depends on what how I say it.
Oh my god. This is hilarious. Alright. Ravina, Queena, the Junga. It is your turn. So funny.
I'll let
I'm
my
in a
owl
torn
kill him.
position here. I don't know. This guy is next, so I'm gonna actually come over here.
Okay.
Because he's about to lose his condition.
Right, he's still
slow.
under command until his turn, so he's still stationary. So she attacks with advantage.
So I'm gonna do fireball.
Oh my god. Okay.
Should I not? Is that kind of a lot? Is that kind of a lot?
That's
That's kind of a lot. I'm
that's
going
a lot.
overboard.
It's a little overboard.
You need to look
That's
at
a
the
little
memes.
overkill.
You need to read some of the memes. I didn't ask how small the room was. I said fireball.
Then okay. She doesn't have a whole lot of stuff as Ravina.
Yeah, but take a look.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
do
but she's
then
got
just-
some very nasty cantrips. She's got Toll the
No, I
Dead.
know.
She's
I
got
just
Eldritch
wanted to-
Blast, Mind Sliver, Sword Burst. You know, there's a lot she can do.
Alright, we're gonna do a little sword burst.
Well, no, so, by the way, Sword Burst is
Wait,
just
no.
around you.
Mind sliver, mind sliver, mind sliver.
Okay, there you go.
Wait, Eldritch Blast. Wait, what? Why did these have no targets?
You have to target him as Ravina.
No, I know, but like Mind Sliver doesn't have a spell target.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, Mind Sliver, you have to target. Oh, there's something weird going on with it. I see what you're saying. There you go.
But anyway, I'm gonna
You
just roll it. Anyway.
By the way, you did just shoot him, and the sliver just go over to him. It is a disorienting shot. He will take 1d6 of psychic damage and subtract 1d4 on his next saving throw before the end of your next turn. You're at level 5, so that damage increases by 1d6, so it's 2d6 that you hit him with. So please roll 2d6 for his damage.
Ugh.
You hit him for 4 points of damage, but he is also now at disadvantage on his next saving throw. Well, not disadvantage. He'll be minus 1d4. Could you roll a d4 for me, please? And his intelligence saving throw, which is stupidity. I should have rolled this first. And he rolled a 12. And he needed to do a DC 14. Nope, he didn't make it. So that's not enough. He needed to hit a 14. So he is now stunned at disadvantage and has taken damage. He's now really not liking life a whole lot. Alright, that's it for Ravina. So, we are now at the start of the next round. Who's still alive? He's still alive. Now he is no longer held by command. He begins to just, flat-foot it.
Gosh darn it.
Was that the guy with hold person on him?
Yes, but it only lasts for... It wasn't hold, it was command. It was only good for
okay.
one round.
Okay.
So, yeah, and he was held there and got pin-cushioned twice because of it. So he's just beat feet off the battlefield.
Great. Waste of time.
Cauldron.
Come into
Yes.
the circle. Come into the henge. Shoot him from there.
Why not if I could just shoot her from here?
Well, true.
Oh, I need to target him again.
And did you hit? You did hit.
That's a 17.
Wow. Wow, I forgot how high your dex is. Alright, give us some damage. That's just sick. That's just wrong.
With a short bow.
It's just wrong. I know it's a short bow, but she also has steady aim, which makes it even worse.
Yeah, which gives me the sneak attack.
So yeah. By the way, I love that with rogues. Steady aim's like, I'm just gonna stay off here and sneak attack you from the other side of the room. It's just so wrong. But yeah, the arrow, as he starts to growl and drops his sword and looks over and starts to puff up all the veins in his neck, you drop one right into his gob, right through the throat, right through the back of the head, severing the spinal cord, and boom, drops to the ground like a rock. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of combat, and you have all been
Wow.
Successful. You have successfully defended Talos's Ragnok from the onslaught of the heathens.
Where were all the half-orcs? I thought they were going to help us. Oh well. Can't rely on anybody these days.
Yes, it seems as such. And as you say that, you see popping out of the ground, well, not popping out of the ground, but almost like they rematerialize. You
They
see
popped out of the snow like daisies.
you see the 4 priests resummon themselves, and they all gesture towards all of you to come into the henge. And you all, as you all come into the interior, they smile and say to you, we got everybody 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, we do. They look towards all of you and they bow and they gesture towards you, Elrin. And as they do, you notice the ground directly in front of them opens up and falls away, as if kind of like crumbling, like a crumbling piece of bread. And there is an opening in the ground directly between their feet. And they look to you and they say, "Please take the weapons of our forefathers and continue your good work to protect the children of Talos. Know you this, they are in grave danger. We are being hunted by the entity on the top of Ice Spire, and our natural gift from the Father is being used to create abominations of magic. Please protect them and keep the remaining henges from being desecrated." And as they say that, each one turns into a wisp of steam and vanishes. And as you look just to the outside of the henge, you see 4 large wild boars look towards you, bow, and charge through the brush up into the north and vanish into the forest. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where we're going to end our game for this weekend.
Woohoo!
Very,
Nice
very
work,
well done,
everybody.
guys. I mean, seriously, I got to come up with an answer for for that damn short bow. Holy crap. 33 points of damage with a short bow? Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh. Wow. Wow.
Straight shot to the femoral.
It's just like Legolas is just sitting there going, I can't. I just can't. I can't. I cannot.
Well, it didn't help that it was a critical hit
Yeah, it did, but holy
at one time.
wow, that was good. Hey guys, that was
yeah.
fun. Thank you very much. I enjoyed this. I hope you guys had fun. Next week is Super Bowl Sunday, and I have to fly to Dallas. Watch this space. I would still like to game this weekend. I'm going to have to get creative with the schedule, and a lot of it depends on when I can fly to Dallas, because I cannot, I've tried, but I cannot run the game on my work laptop. It just doesn't have the juice. So we'll have to figure out some way of doing
All
it.
good.
Good from home if we can, and if not, we'll get creative. But thank you guys. It was a lot of fun. I had an absolute blast, and we will see you guys next week.
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
I will leave the
next
game up
week,
for making journal
everybody.
entries. Journal entries if you guys want to do it. But yes, we'll see you guys next week. Thank you.
Yay, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. See you next week, guys.
Bye, Ninako. Bye, Eva.
Bye.
Bye, Steve. Bye, DM.